Hello, today I want to talk to you about this Nike advert, and I want to talk specifically about the way masculinity is represented. But before we start, let's just identify the features of the advert. We've got the Nike logo and the Nike slogan in the bottom right hand corner, and generally logos are placed there because it tends to be the last thing that we read. Usually start reading here, read across, and then eventually down to the bottom corner. So many logos are placed here. But let's look at this representation of masculinity. Here we have Wayne Rooney, and there seems to be some kind of association with the England flag, which is why the background is white. But this cross that's painted on him is a very powerful image. In fact, it looks like blood, and some people have said that it also reminds them of religious things like Jesus. Jesus, when he was on the cross, he was in this position. But he's daubed in blood, and this cross is not neatly painted, it's actually smeared on him. And some people have commented that this seems to be similar to blood. And in fact, it's almost as if he's eaten something and he's torn something to pieces and that he's covered in the blood of his victim. So this representation of masculinity is quite traditional. For example, he is shown as being strong, powerful, violent, passionate, and his expression, you could take it in a number of different ways. It could be celebration, or it could be violent aggression. The fact that his mouth's open and he appears to be shouting or screaming, it gives it an impression almost as if he's in battle. And this was an advert produced around about the time of the England World Cup. And of course, England don't do very well in the World Cup in general, and certainly haven't done since 1966. But there's always an outpouring of patriotism, and patriotism means you're desperate for your country to win. But when you think about Wayne Rooney, he's a celebrity, and he's been elevated, much like people like David Beckham, above the status of a normal human being. He's become an icon. And in this case, boys, younger boys in particular, will look up to him. They'll see him as a role model, and they'll see him as being someone that they should try and emulate. Emulate means do the same things as. So this representation of maleness or masculinity is traditional. And if you think about it, it's portraying all of those things that traditionally we might associate with manhood. For example, strength, power, aggression, violence, and also the idea that you stand up and be counted. And in fact, when you look at this, it really does show that there is still an old-fashioned stereotypical view of what a man should be like. If you were having to write about an example of an advert that you'd studied in class, this would be a perfect one to focus on, particularly in relation to representation of men, but also in relation to the way that advertisers use celebrities to sell products. And of course, Nike is a sports brand, and it is using very traditional representations of maleness.